Futures back in positive territory, looking to wrap up the week on a positive note, coming off yet another negative session yesterday. All three U.S. indexes back in the red at the end of the day yesterday. The S&P and NASDAQ on track for a seventh, if you can believe it, seventh straight losing week, while the Dow is set for 8 in a row, depending on how today wraps up, obviously. The S&P down about 0.6 yesterday, 19% off its all-time highs now, flirting with that bear market territory once again. 20% would get us there. Only a matter of time, it would seem. But again, we're trying to bounce here this morning. The Federal Reserve continuing to signal it plans to continue to tighten policy and interest rates as inflation continues to be the big concern for the overall market and the economy going forward. A couple of interesting moves here in the pre-market. NIO, making its debut on the Shanghai market overnight. Huge rally there, so shares are higher this morning. Also being added to a tech index. We'll tell you all about that. Foot Locker reported. There's also a positive note on DoorDash this morning. Not doing a lot of volume, but higher in the pre-market as well. Lots to discuss here. It's Friday, May 20th, 2022. TraderTv.Live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Good to see positive numbers top to bottom to kick things off for Friday. S&P up a full percent. NASDAQ leading right now, 1.5%. As I said, the Dow is positive, but on track for 8 in a row, 8 losing weeks, that is, in a row for the Dow. Everything else looking pretty good so far, in the right direction anyways to kick off Friday morning. It's been a pretty wild week with retail earnings. We don't have much to get through on the earnings front today. Good morning, guys. But there are a few, not a lot of action so far in those that did report it. Outside of Ross, there's also some in the cybersecurity space as well.
Good morning. Some in the cybersecurity. Come on, man. Palo Alto, they're big, they're the best. We'll talk a little bit about them, to be sure. But Ross stores, like there's every single day this week, there is a retailer that got smoked, and this morning it's ROST. So if you're not familiar with them, get familiar with them. There was already some shenanigans on this stock. What I thought was somebody pushing around the stock was actually somebody buying a boatload of shares at $70.50. So Godspeed to them.
Yeah, yesterday we talked about it when Cisco missed, and I was like, Palo Alto. Every morning my throat is like this. I just got to drink some more water here and get going on that. But we've already, we're on about a half a cup of coffee so far. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Palo Alto nice. And then Ross stores down 23%. Again, it's on the sticky note today. Ross, we're going to be looking at that. So ROST as well. We like AMD, we like Apple, but we don't like today very much because obviously it's going to be Miss V's last day with us here at Trader TV Live. So it's, it's a good day. It's Friday. We're going to the Jays game after, and that should be fun. All the traders behind us, we're all gonna, taking them down there, see what's gonna happen. We're gonna see Tony down there. We're gonna have a lot of fun. But yeah, a little dark cloud hanging over us all today. But you know what? I mean, it'll be fine. We're looking forward to new starts and new beginnings for Valeria as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good day, a great day. The market's up. We're ready to rock and roll. We've got our mixed blues on here today for the Blue Jays.
You
so
got to.
yeah, we're getting ready to rock and roll. I'm going to turn this guy into a little temporary bull here today, Brendo.
All right. Yeah, as Sean was mentioning there, it's a bittersweet kind of day for the last time. Let's bring in Miss V.
Good morning, team. Happy Trading Friday to you all. And yes, this is my last day on Trader TV Live. And let's have a fantastic, profitable day together. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started. It is Miss V Day around here. Let's call it that, shall we? A couple of things to note right out of the gate here. We had earnings, as I mentioned, from a number of retailers. There was also Deere reported, DE, to the downside. Big miss for them. Not doing a lot of volume here as well, but DoorDash, guys, $400 million buyback approved for Dash, so in positive territory nevertheless.
sometimes you just got to sprinkle a little buyback on it. It usually works pretty well. Not a huge fan of the deer miss, top bottom. That's not necessarily one of those things that's going to be good from like an overall market's perspective, right? So I'd like to see that stock hopefully react a little bit better. AMAT's miss obviously doesn't help things either, but the market seems to be shaking it off so far. DoorDash, this is another, like, again, there's going to be so many of these types of names that you're getting this lower high being put in, and it's just sitting there waiting for a breakout. You've seen so many things try to break up. Like, we'll talk about NEO, which got to its 50 period. But apparently we're in a market where SoFi cracks the 50 period, Fahad, but DoorDash can't seem to get off the schneid. And there's obviously some levels that have come into play today. It hasn't been able to get through the 70 the last couple of days. If it breaks that, there's room up to 75, 76, which was a strong double top. And I showed you the bottom end of that channel on the daily chart. This is another one that has a shot to go here. Is this the catalyst that does it? Maybe it is. I see almost no pre-market volume, so it's not really on my list, but believe me, there are plenty of breakout opportunities today. There are plenty of names which are testing significant resistance levels today. What I'm not seeing, however, are a lot of things that are on gigantic support or significant support. You can maybe throw Apple into there, but yeah, most of it's broken away from that support, which has been a pretty good sign and a pretty good place for some of those longs. So it could be a little bit trickier for some of the long entries here today if you don't favor breakouts.
Yeah, I don't really favor breakouts early, but we'll take some late, hopefully, and by late I mean a couple minutes into the market. Normally we look at the imbalance locator to give us some kind of an idea of maybe a direction, and obviously it's the NASDAQ up 1.45% right now, outpacing the ES, and the NASDAQ imbalances aren't out yet, but we have a bunch of mixed results here, basically. Snapchat with a sell, NEO there with a buy, DD's been buy or sell all week. Space is there as a sell, Merck as a sell, Roblox as a buy. So, some of these, there's Unity as well as a buy down there. So some of these beat down names, catching little bits of bids here. Roblox up that 2% right now. So, it's been, up 2%, my bad. Up 3% right now for Roblox. I had up there, I want to talk a little bit about, just because you mentioned DoorDash there, like Uber's been pretty clobbered here, and I just think about, when I think about DoorDash, you think about Uber Eats and think about some of those, not really Lyft. I don't put Lyft in the same category because they don't do this, but you want to talk about something that's been beat down here pretty good. Uber's down at that 22 level, and when you expand it out, this is pretty much its all-time low. Sure, we ticked down to $15 there as COVID hit and they basically shut down operations. But, nice little rebound there on some of the delivery, servicing at-home meals, stuff like that when people couldn't get out. Obviously, it was a COVID story. Didn't even go up as much as a lot of those other COVID names, but look at this. Right back down to $22 right here today, bumping up. And again, this is one of those names where you've just had, and I think Brendan said, this is 7th heading on its 8th straight negative week here for the markets. You're kind of starting to, like Neil mentioned as well, starting to see some bottoms here. And I'm looking at this Uber, if you can get above 25, we're only at 23.75 right now, but you can clear a lot of this garbage right here and get through it, then maybe there's some smooth sailing upside for Uber. I also want to, I'm not in it. I don't know if Airbnb is a NASDAQ stock? No, is it? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. Airbnb is another name that I'm trying to buy as well on some of these bottoms. And you can see this has been a nice little move to the downside. And the same level kind of exists for them. 125. Not as dramatic of pullbacks here for an Airbnb. But like I said, as hopefully the summer months come through, hopefully we get a little bit of a relief in gas prices. Airbnb should be able to get back to the upside here. So I don't know. I like this name, 125, 125, 125, and then a break right there of 125. So yeah, as far as investments go, I think there's a lot of names that you can nibble at. The list is endless, and I think that's what you got to do. We have the sticky note, but I think you also got to have a shopping list, which includes stocks that maybe you've never been in before, but you understand the story and you like it for the next year, 2-3 years plus, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of stories like that. Airbnb's one, Uber's one if they can turn it around. I believe PayPal's another one at those levels right now that you can start nibbling in on. And I can go on and on, Brendo, but there's a couple good names out there. We'll see if today's rally holds.
Yeah, I noticed crude oil, guys, basically unchanged so far this morning. First long weekend here in Canada for the summer this weekend. It was a bit of a ghost town in my neighborhood this morning. A lot of people, I think, taking an extra long weekend, but yeah, gas prices continue to be an issue. Let's go to NIO. Made its debut overnight on the Shanghai exchange. Big rally. Nice look, or sorry, the Singapore exchange, I should say, not Shanghai. In Shanghai, it's going to be added as well to the Hang Seng Tech Index, which I found surprising, already included Li and XPEV, but not NIO, along with other names such as Alibaba and other e-commerce names. So number of positive catalysts here this morning for NIO.
Yeah, and well, so first things first, like this listing, just like their Hong Kong listing, it's not dilutive, right? So there was no issuing of new shares for NIO here. It's just available on another exchange, right? So you don't have to worry about share dilution here like you would with regular IPO or anything along those lines. I might have accidentally said NIO was breaking its 50 period. It was getting to the 50 period. It was it was SoFi that broke its 50 period. But that does stand out right now. I'm looking at this 18, sort of 30 level. We've sort of seen the story before on NIO, more typically with, I guess, their monthly releases of data with regards to deliveries, where you sell the news when it's good, and then the first move is to the backside on something like an NIO. And when I look at that 1830 level, 50 period resistance on the daily chart, you're gapping up into it. You've already sort of pulled back off 18. It is setting up for a little bit of a fake break at 18 even, if it were to get up there and sort of roll over. So if you like the buy today, which I think that's what I'm looking at, it's just, you look at this nice little cluster here. Like you had a 17 top and you had all afternoon support at 1650. And this is another theme. A couple of names I looked at like this, where they had this afternoon support levels that could be interesting for a buy. So if it is a sell the news type of thing, I think that's that cluster to look for a bit of a dip buy. And then it is set up. If we get through 18, fail beneath 1830, and then start coming right back in, that would set up for a short into those levels for the dip buy. Just typically that's what I sort of seen NIO do here.
VWAP trader here. Let's just keep the pouring in here. It's at Valeria here, but congratulations on your 2 years at Day Trade the World and being a YouTube star at such a young age. So, and then congrats to me and you, Neil, as well. Obviously not talking about us being any sort of stars, let alone at a young age. So, yeah, we are very, very... Yeah, Neil's the star. Neil's the star here. And Valeria.
Look at that.
We lose. Oh, no. Why are you pointing out the gray hair?
Actually, you know what? I saw there was a comment in the chat this morning, and I apologize because I didn't catch the name of it. It was pretty quick, saying, you know what? With Ms. V's personality, you'll probably see her starring somewhere else pretty soon.
Starring somewhere else. Ooh.
No, it was like she could have her own YouTube channel.
Yes, maybe.
Hey.
Look, man, stay tuned. That's all I can say about Miss V's future. So, no, you know what? She's going to do her own thing, and she's already talked to people there on social media and things like that. So, she'll be here the rest of the day, all day. So, I'm not going to get too emotional until 3:59. Okay. All right. So look, I've loved NIO all week. We took a 1550 break when it was there, right here. That was a monster trade. We had it yesterday as well, and we'll look to see. I believe we did, but it wasn't heavily traded. Maybe we didn't have it yesterday actually. But nice moves up for NIO. That 18. I'm not playing the break right now. I did write down here that obviously there's some easy levels for us, right? 17 is great. So I think if we can get a pullback into 17, which was the high there yesterday, the high there the day before, any kind of pullbacks into 17, we like it. We like it a lot. And then honestly, if the market wants to get going here, we're obviously starting to trade down again. And that's what I was saying to Baxter on the way in. I feel like this is a fade Friday, man. And I'm not talking about Brendan's fades. I'm talking about fading the market here on Friday. So let's wait to see what happens in. I even told my kid, I was like, I got to get a haircut here because I got to compete with this Brendan guy coming through. So, and then my kid's like, oh, I was like, you want to go with me? Because, father-son bonding would be nice to, go get haircuts. Yeah. We've done it before. He goes, no, Dad, I'm growing my hair long. I was like, okay.
How
well,
long is long?
Basically doesn't want to cut it. Like, I don't
Okay.
know. He says he has a friend at school, I guess, that has the flow. So I don't know.
Dude,
I mean, the
the
dude
flow,
is 10.
I'm telling
Dude is
you.
10 years old, so I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to go by myself. But anyways, Neo to 17, I like it. Quickly before we go back to Brendan, let me just double check to see if there was anything on the, yeah, so here it is on the imbalance there. Just double checking that it is a buy. You know, again, sitting down here near 1720, 1730, things like that in case we get a dip. Neo has dipped many times before and often off the open. So yesterday ripped, then came right back to those opening levels again. So let's be patient, man. It's been working for us every single day in the last little while, ever since we stopped taking breakouts. So we'll take them, but the levels are gonna have to build themselves up. I think I found one at 17. I really like Neo. It's the #1 name on the sticky note.
All right, we will get into the rest of what you need to know coming up here this morning. One quick note, and then we're gonna bring in Michael Moss here from Trade Ideas. A sign of the times, maybe. We've talked about the destruction in Amazon shares, but yeah, Citi removing Amazon stock from its best list or top picks list. So interesting move. Amazon continues to be under pressure over the past couple of months. Amazing. As mentioned, Michael Moss, chartered market technician from Trade Ideas, back with us on a Friday. It's been a crazy week. Michael, good to see you as always. A lot of retail destruction, a lot of earnings, and you're here to tell us about an opportunity that is created post-earnings. A lot of people, you know, go into earnings season thinking, okay, how am I going to trade these stocks going into earnings? But you're here to tell us about an opportunity that you have found post-earnings.
Yeah. So first, I just want to say, as a viewer of the show, that just to miss V, you'll be missed. You know, I just want to give a voice to the rest of the viewers out there. I know the comment section is going to agree with me. You'll be missed, and everyone, we wish you the best on whatever comes next. So I just wanted to get that out of the way again, just give a voice to the viewers there, and we can get back to trading. But yeah, so one thing that I talk about a lot as a swing trader is to not forget after the event, right? A lot of the day trading, it's very focused on, okay, we have earnings today and earnings is going wild. Let me trade it for today. And then quickly you forget 4 or 5 or 6 days later after earnings has come out. So, but in Trade Ideas, I have a scan that I go to. It only works around this time every year or every quarter, which is probably, I'll come on and talk about it then. But I call it the power earnings gap. And if you're a subscriber to Trade Ideas, you can email in and we can get access to this as well. So here's one that kind of worked in the past just to show the setup. On CEIX, I just pointed an arrow there to the gap. That was a gap that was caused because of earnings. As a chartered market technician, I don't care about the fundamentals, but I care about the market's reaction to the fundamentals. So on the next slide, we zoom into that area a bit just to show you the setup. And it's pretty simple. You're looking for a stock that gaps up because of some sort of change in fundamentals, earnings, great news, and holds that gap area. You know, that there's an old saying out there that all gaps fill. Well, the ones that don't fill are the ones that are the most interesting to me. So this one, for example, gapped up on earnings, ran for a couple days and just held that nice tight base. The thing that I love about this setup is, from a swing point of view, is it's so simple. You just take the high of that consolidation after the earnings gap. Your stop is below the consolidation after that earnings gap. And you just hope whatever change in fundamental caused that gap and caused that investor reaction is going to carry it in the way that we saw in CEIX. So as always, I've got a handful of examples here to go through, things to watch today. So the first one is ENR. Energizer battery. It's a little Energizer bunny. Top of that gap's about 34. The bottom of it's 30. One thing I like about this is you can see the yellow line on the chart is not only did it gap up that day, but it gap up and it ran throughout the day. So there was whatever they said was really good and people are accumulating it there. And it's got, you know, that congestion underneath. So if we break back into that gap, it's probably time to move on from that one. Next one is D-Nut, which is Krispy Kreme. Again, I guess even in recessions, people need to eat. So this one gaps up, holding that consolidation very, very well. 15 is the high of the consolidation. 14 is the low of that one. Next one here is Funko. This one also has some anchored VWAP support, which is something I'll be talking about soon as we're getting very close to building some scans for this. But it gapped up over this, almost a year and a half of consolidation on earnings. It's at the low end of that consolidation, which I don't like so much. But if it can get back to that, 21 and a half level, I'm interested in that one. Pretty decent short float on this one. Next is Go, which is just groceries, a grocery store outlet. Big rounded bottom, nice uptrend in this market, some good relative strength there. And that gap's about 37.5 to 34. OLN is the next one here. This one's a chlorine manufacturer, but again, good relative strength, great earnings. You're talking 65 or so for the top. And last but not least is a health insurance company that has actually gapped into new all-time highs and is holding that earnings gap. So whatever they said on earnings, investors obviously liked because we're right at highs here. The high of that consolidation is about 36.
I love the concept in the sense that, as you said, so very simple, but something that you can put in your back pocket, and a week or so after the fact, revisit some of the names that did report better than expected earnings. I mean, we say all the time, when a stock is in play one day, you can't forget about it the next day and 2 or 3 days even after the fact. So exactly. Even if it's from a swing basis, definitely a great concept. Also, we appreciate very much the kind words for Miss V. As you mentioned, she will be missed around here. So have yourself a great weekend. Michael Nosh, Chartered Market Technician over at Trade Ideas. We appreciate it.
You too, anytime.
Great ideas there, guys, on earnings plays after the fact.
Yeah, and you know what? And thank you, Michael, for all of that, and definitely for the kind words. Amazing. And what I love about these ideas is it's just immediately applicable to things that we're looking at right now. And Palo Alto just had a gap up 11%. Sorry, check that 12%. So guess what? File that one away. And sort of what he was talking about, in the next couple of days, can you put in that same consolidation and make a channel that we can break out of? And this is exactly the kind of thing you want to add to your toolbox. And it's great from a swing perspective. But guess what? There's some day trade love in there as well, because when you break out of that consolidation, well, we like breakout trades. And if you find that channel of support, if it doesn't hold that support, sometimes you gap fill on the way back in. So, we love everything about that different perspective. That's what we're all about here, getting different ideas and seeing how we can apply them. I'm not going to be watching PanW, obviously today, but certainly for next week as well, to see if it ends up fitting that setup that Michael just pointed out.
Yeah, we talked about PanW yesterday when we had Cisco on there, and we were talking a little bit about security and this kind of stuff, and I was saying we like PanW a lot there, so that's been a good one. I'm still looking at NEO. Yeah, I got a thing of halls there. I'll have to have it in a minute. But even right now, I was saying earlier, honestly, look, Tesla, I mean, a lot of us are in the money a lot with Tesla, right? But obviously, I feel like right now, Sir Elon feels like he's unwinding himself here. So I don't really know. I don't like all this politics stuff. I don't like everything that he's talking about right now. I'm really debating doing this, just getting out of everything for Tesla and then just letting things settle down. I feel like there could be a disaster coming in this name. And I don't know, man. The more he rattles the cages of the Fed, and then now different political parties, and we're not making this a political show. I'm just talking about an investment in Tesla here. He's not focused on the business. It seems like he has bigger fish to fry, it seems, out there now than managing this. He's all pissed off about the ESG comments there, and apparently. The factories in China, they're not getting treated properly. He didn't lose the ESG ranking in that S&P ESG index there because of the way that Tesla is for the environment. He lost it due to a lot of other events, including human resources and just the way the corporate structure is and things like that. So I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, and I feel like there's been smoke here with Tesla, at least for the last few months, and then you add on top of all of this some of the talk here with Twitter and he can't 44 billion. I don't know, it seems like we're getting a little bit away from all this. I mean, quite frankly, it started with Dogecoin and all this kind of crazy stuff that he just became this kind of pumper of things. And I feel like, honestly, Tesla could have quite a ways to fall here. And I'm probably going to be looking short on any kind of pops here for Tesla today, which is a complete change of everything that I've ever thought here. I said that there's only a few electric car names or car names I'd want to be in, and Tesla was always at the top of that list. But I think we're down ticking that, man. I mean, stuff that I'm reading with Lucid, Rivian, Fisker, things like that. I just wonder if I take out all of my Tesla money, put it into some sort of an ETF, and as I say this, I mean, Tesla's bouncing around, but putting it into some sort of an ETF that's obviously still Tesla weighted there, and just taking away some of the single stock risk might be a huge mistake, because Tesla's at some crazy buy levels right now. It's just, you got to believe in the company and the management, and right now I'm sort of waning on that a little bit. I think you have some similar opinions there as well.
I don't want to get into the politics of it.
Yeah, it's not a political thing.
I kind of felt like this type of stuff was going to start to come out when that happened, the ESG and all that, and I really don't want to weigh too much on the rest of it. I just feel like the stock is under pressure because of all of the distractions. Elon is an engineer, and he's an absolutely brilliant one, and he's an executor, and that's why they're executing better than everybody else. And that's what you want to see him do, realistically. As a shareholder myself, I just want to see him be an absolute leader for the 4 businesses that matter. I wish I could be in SpaceX, can't be. It's just, he's got so much that he could be doing, and I feel like there's a lot of distractions coming here, and the next couple of weeks could get rough from a news standpoint. But there is a mover quickly. We're going to go to upgrades and downgrades, but this IMMX just popped up here. On the daily, 280 seems like a big level. It just got to 270, and I was sort of watching it. Here's what it looks like on the daily chart. That's your 280 on the daily. Double top on the daily chart, previous support when it came to market. This is one that if it gets there, that would be what I was looking to fade, kind of like Sega at $10 yesterday, although I might have just missed it. 70 might be as far as it goes. This is 2 days in a row, Brendan, where you look at that upgrades and downgrades board, and every single one of them is a big name.
Yeah, lots of retail again on here. Home Depot, interesting, to the upside from Citigroup today. Give you an opportunity earlier in the week. There's Grab, BJ, Wholesale, and Palo Alto. I want to mention Best Buy. Best Buy Monday morning before the open will get earnings for BBY, so a heads up on that. AMAT, another one, obviously, reporting.
Yeah, that Costco got downgraded. Oh my God, keep that board up a little bit there for a second. I missed some of those as we were still talking about Elon here. As we go, Home Depot with a nice upgrade as well. There it is again. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so all right, Applied Materials, we've talked about their earnings. Best Buy as well on the downgrade. I believe in that. I mean, obviously, if you're going to have all retail on the right side, it's sans AMAT there, then yeah, that's not a great sign. Costco's such an interesting name for me, man. And it's like, I want to get in there ASAP. I really like the experiences when we go to Costco. Although, I mean, they need to get back the samples there. We went last time, they had a couple. But I don't know, down to, oh God, here we go. I have to say this, Lucas. We're down to 420 right now here on Costco. So on a Friday wake and bake. It's funny because I just saw it there. Someone was just saying it right a couple seconds ago about that. So and we go right over to Costco, and it's just a fluke that it's at this price. But I mean, it's been absolutely destroyed here in this retail wreckage. And I'm there, man. The lines are big. Obviously, the gas. I mean, I don't think they make very much money, and they probably make a decent amount there. I'd have to look through their reports on the fuel, but those lines continue to be strong. I was there. The store is strong. The parking lot's full. I mean, ours is anyways. I don't want to talk for everybody, but when you do line checks like that, channel checks, we hear it for Apple all the time. The channel checks, go into the store, what's going on in there, Lululemon, things like that. It works for those stores. So, I mean, for me, I think Costco's fine here, but obviously we have to wait to hear what's coming through on their report, because I don't think they're going to get Ross stores or anything like that, or Targeted or Walmarted. But now we have like adjectives for that.
I know.
But it's such a move down here that I'm debating just dipping in right now before their report next week. But it's a very, very dangerous name. They keep getting downgraded, and yeah, I think we just hold tight on it. But Costco definitely, out of all of those names, for me, as an investor, I don't know if it's going to be a great day trade, but as an investor, I really would like to get, start nibbling at least at some Costco's.
That's the company, I think, out of the group that I like the best. Home Depot gets the upgrade, and it's interesting because they probably have a pretty attractive valuation compared to the fact they also had the good report. But here's the thing. So if you're going to downgrade Costco, and they're still relatively cheap on an earnings basis, it's like 30 times or something like that. But that doesn't seem to stop Palo Alto, which Palo Alto is down like 30%, and yes, they had good earnings, but that's ridiculously expensive.